I decided to switch to Orisa, and I played Orisa the entire match afterwards.
Okay, so we're looking at a tiny bit of Ryan, but mostly this is going to be Orisa. Fine by me.
Yep.
What's our game length here? Game length is 18. That's fine. We can certainly look at the Ryan for a couple minutes. Okay.
All right.
Do you have any general questions you want to get into before we really start reviewing the gameplay, or are you just sort of like, hey, I'm here for an Orisa VOD. We haven't really gone over Orisa much yet before. Let's do it.
Pretty much the second one.
Great,
Uh,
great. How's your Ryan been feeling in terms of fine tuning your aggression? I mean, we're about to see, but I just want to check.
mm, I guess it's pretty solid. Like after last time, it's been some major. It's been some major improvement compared to last time, but it still
Okay.
needs some work.
Always needs work. Okay, good to
Yeah.
hear though. Good to hear. Okay. Here we are. You're playing with a widow and a soldier and a ball. I am not surprised that you are going to end up on Orisa.
Yeah, pretty much.
Swing at that. Uh-huh. Dina doesn't want the space you took. Isn't clearing high ground. Okay. You know, re-push. I'm a little surprised. I feel like there's a couple times, both when you retreated from here, that you didn't look for a fire strike through this window and on this advancement here while you still had health, but that's okay. Let's actually look at this. So here you are. Let's one more time. Okay. Are you worried about anything from the Legend 27 here? Like, other than the pile drive, are you worried about anyone else hitting you right now?
No.
Okay. So, I don't want the Legend 27's pile drive to do damage to you, but I would probably like to take a swing at him as soon as I'm sure his pile drive doesn't hurt me, right?
Mm.
So, I don't really like, and I'm getting micro, that you're still backing up here because you were already out of range, but now you're out of hammer range. You see what I'm? Well, okay, you might
Got
still
you.
tag him with your hammer, but this is the sort of thing where I'm much less worried about him shooting at me with his weapons than he is about me swinging a hammer at him, especially given our relative health totals, armor totals right now, all that. So like you looked at him and went, well, your slam isn't going to move you, so in fact I'll take a little step closer, so it's harder. So I might get a second swing on you before you get away. Instead, you're backing off, and he's like, "Oh, I get to swing at you," and oops, and that's just not the case. Like now he gets to shoot at you, but this should be a case if you had one swing, maybe two swings on him before he got away. Instead, he's like, "I'm gonna shoot you," which that's just silly. I mean, you knew what your ball was doing here. Your ball's clearly about to go in. Maybe you don't think your ball should go in, but your ball's clearly going in, so you should think about being pushing right now. I know you're down one.
I want to go from our team.
Yeah.
I think majority of us is split, especially our Bap and Zen.
Okay. Okay. I'm not necessarily saying a real push, but like a, hey, do I push
Okay.
up and look for a swing type thing? Like you would with the Zarya, where you'd go, hey, I'm going to go up and swing while she, because she wants to use a bubble. Well, my ball, for some reason, wants to do a roll through right now. So he's going to pull eyeballs. I might as well go up and swing. It's not like my Zen or my Bap are going to struggle to keep me alive during this. Yes, there's still people coming back. And yes, I wouldn't want to get aggressed onto, but I'm not super worried about getting aggressed onto. You guys have pretty firm lane. Well, you guys have moderately firm lane control here, but that's okay. Okay. Yeah, that was always a little bit of a... So here you are. Your ball has just gotten exploded. That distance was long enough that I, I kind of expect him to block this. This doesn't seem like an adequate distraction to me, but that's okay. Okay. I'm thinking it's swap time.
Yep.
Okay.
Has it malfunctioned?
Okay. You have Halt back. Are you confident? And you know that this ball won't immediately have momentum after a pile drive. So are you confident that you're going to eliminate this ball without the Halt?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't looking at my whole cooldown,
Okay.
so I didn't even know I had it myself.
Yeah, because I get it. We just adjusted to the shorter Halt cooldown now, so it's going to take some mental adjustment, but this usually would be a Halt because like it's totally worth converting that to, be more sure of this elim. Okay. Excuse me. So you're pushing up here, and I'm okay with that. It looks like originally you were thinking about going up here, and I think I still like that more. Like, I don't, even though we got that ball limb, I don't necessarily want to try to force this because this forces a short sight line where the Reinhardt is more powerful than us, right?
I think eventually I don't make it to the high ground, but I know I'll go left side instead of here.
Okay.
Eventually.
Okay. Pretty quickly.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I don't. Yeah, that's an okay trade.
Safety, get behind the barrier.
Okay. It's a little far forward for what you're doing, but it's not bad. I mean, the thing is, he does have Shatter. You do still have Fortify. He does have Shatter.
Mhm.
You're thinking, hey, I get to block out your BAP healing if you walk through it, and that's probably worth... Yeah, okay. You get this. Because he advances, you Fortify, which I'm good with, but why are you still here? And what I mean by that is you've already committed to Fortify, and you have 385. Are you... You have two choices. Are you... No, you're here because of your window. Yeah, you're not going to protect your lamp. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Watch your back.
What? Okay. There's a
Wow.
BAP and a Widow. There's a BAP and a Widow. There's a BAP and a
Mhm.
Widow. What are we... Huh? Huh? And remember, you're Orisa, like, Orisa doesn't have a short cooldown on her barrier. So, like, you can't just walk over here and set a new barrier. You don't have Fortify. You have a little bit of Fortify left for this rotation, but you don't really have Fortify for this rotation. Instead of you
Mhm.
putting even 50 damage on Widow, another 50 damage on BAP, and making them uncomfortable, threatening a Halt up on this Widow, instead of any of that, you're walking over to Cart. And, like, yeah, at least your BAP can heal you through window and that's something, but we didn't want to do this until we'd put a little more pressure, at least on the Widow. Like, this is just this doesn't make sense. I mean, you have a window. I'm talking 50 damage. You would have, even a couple shots would have put them in serious jeopardy here. Okay.
60 seconds remaining.
Okay. You're there. You didn't really get him for late. You didn't really get him low enough that this fault is threatening in a limb. Are you calling this halt, or are you just like, hey, there's a tire going on, everyone's distracted anyway?
I was, I think I just halt that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop.
That aim's not right for a halt, right? Like, you know where you threw this halt, you know that you threw this halt here, so your aim needs to be just to the left of the halt because it's going to pull there. The fact that your crosshair is still over here is weird, and if
Mhm.
we look at this, I'm going to slow it down. Like, now I think you're worried about the tire, but like, even, okay, so there's no follow-up flick on the halt, but like, the part of the halt is so that you get more accurate tracking. You know exactly where they're going to be.
Stand
Okay.
I'm escorting the payload. Assistance requested. 30 seconds remaining.
Fine.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
I am a little surprised that we didn't get a halt on either of these sides. Like, it's a long range halt, don't get me wrong, but and so she's got time to get away from it, but I am surprised that we didn't get a halt on either one of these. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that because these halts should be being gotten in here for more, perhaps low probability threats, but like 30% chance of eliminating your target type things.
Okay.
Okay, so your BAP can actually afford to keep pushing this cart. Okay, you're gonna stay here.
Don't move.
Fine. I really would have liked you to abandon your BAP earlier and just gone and taken this. Your BAP has the luxury of just hopping up and joining you guys in this fight, and this is the fight over this point. It's not down here. If you had no one that could occupy cart, so be it, but your BAP gets to join you up there. Okay.
I recommend moving behind my barrier.
I'm not convinced that you're going to get to use this barrier.
Probably not. No.
Yeah. And again, now you're waiting another 6 seconds for one of those guys. Which this time will be okay. Let's see how the supercharger will get used.
Cease your resistance.
Okay. Okay. You're going to body block and have barrier for it. Fights in a place that's reasonable. Yeah.
Cease your
Here you are. You do this, instantly gone. Great. A little unfortunate that we have the window too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm looking at this, and I'm already thinking, hey, we can throw a halt through there. Like, maybe you don't know exactly what's through there, but you think there's enough through there to be shooting, and think of how amplified everyone's damage on your team is right now. Like, if you pull something here even for a moment, it doesn't have to be perfect, it can be whatever. A halt here is just, like, how can you not get a limbs off of that? Yeah.
I'm starting to sense that the overarching thing of all this is to use halt more.
Yes, especially with the lower cooldown.
Okay,
We're going to be
okay.
seeing some, hey, let's use this halt.
Well, with me, when it comes to like my my Orisa play, I use halt way more in scrims than I do in like ladder.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I am.
Yeah, no, and that sort of, is that what? Sorry.
That's just how I am. Like when it comes to
Oh, okay.
Orisa.
Got it. Yeah, so I would
Mm.
recommend, I mean, you understand in a scrim environment that sort of what enables poke play, almost what covers a lot of your target calling in poke play when you're running an Orisa is your shield timings and your halt calls. Like, that is a lot of what your target calling is in poke play, and like you're probably used to calling your halts in scrims because they actually get followed up on, but like even though you won't get the same level of following up on your halts and scrims, you're still going to get stuff for follow-up. You might not get, the Dragon Strike. You might not get the, okay, we have a Zen Volley plus a Storm Arrow plus a Junkrat Mine. You might not get that level of follow-up, but you're still usually going to get something. People are going to look to it. People are going to like that the thing is slowed down. And even if you don't, you can still be using your halts as I got something to 50% HP and now I'm halting it to make it easier for me to finish it off type thing, like as even just a personal greed cooldown. You're not even using it a ton for. So I'd like to see more of like the character is in danger, like we've chipped some of their health. It's not like, oh, this person is full health, let me halt them, because you'd frequently like to still have your halt for a better opportunity, for like a real combo opportunity, or for a peel opportunity on like a Hammond that came in, for example. But like if you get someone to the point where they're at 50% health, maybe even 75% health, if you've got someone else looking on your team in that general direction, the halt to be like, hey, I'm gonna fish for this, it's not that long of a cooldown anymore. But that's okay.
Okay.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
And you should already be firing this halt because you're happy to go. This ball is going to start to roll away. Like pile drives can be good things to halt because the ball loses all of his momentum, and as he lands, you throw out your halt, and then you get to hold him right back to where he finished the pile drive, and your allies were already shooting where he pile drived, right? Because like everyone
Gotcha.
knew that that's where he's going to be. So even if your allies were late, even if your allies were throwing projectiles, he's pulled right back to that spot. He first lost his momentum off the pile drive, then you halt him again, that pulls him back to the spot, and he's down to 0 momentum and gets a slow again. Yeah, like that ball, okay, that ball got out and got out with some health, but that ball, instead of being at 1/3 or at 2/3 health, probably would have been at 1/3 health if you'd hit that halt. And is that like everything? No, it's not. But for a cooldown that is pretty short these days, that's certainly wasn't going to hurt to keep him out of the fight longer. And it's not like you need it to protect yourself right now because he's the only one who could push you.
Okay.
We can cover, fine.
Behind the barrier.
Why? What is advancing here getting you? Like, what did leaving this cover to go use your shield get you? I don't mind putting your shield down because it lets you do more damage, but what did going from here to here get you?
I was trying to save our ball.
Oh, you wanted the shield to save your ball?
Yes, the ball right in front of me.
Yeah, I'm good with the shield. The shield isn't what's bothering me. What's actually bothering me is that you're now out here. Like, I'm actually looking at this from this
Oh, okay.
perspective of, like, the
Mhm.
shield is fine with me because the shield lets you keep your angle open for longer and you can do work on this angle. That's fine with me. But I don't think you've gained much by going from here to here. I actually think you've just put yourself in a situation where, hey, whoops, my shield breaks immediately, which is fine. Your shield's going to break immediately. Your shield was a poke window, a push window for your team, a window for your team to peek to get more aggressive, and your shield breaks, and I'm not bothered by that. But I don't want you to be like, hey, I'm Orisa, and I throw a shield down out in the open, and I shoot from the open, and my shield breaks, and now I have to fortify. I want you to be Orisa on the corner who throws the shield, and the shield is useful, and the Orisa gets to keep her angle open longer because the shield is up, but then if she starts getting burst down after her shield's gone, she just closes the angle. That's what we want from our Orisa and from our shields. Our shields are useful, but we don't go, oh, I can just stand in the open because of my shield. I mean, and you know this from Reinhardt, right? Like a Reinhardt would hold
Mhm.
a corner, and you know that. You wouldn't just shield for your team to shoot from behind. You will continue shooting after your shield is gone, but if you start taking damage, you have the option to go like this instead of, I have to fortify.
Got you. Okay.
And you do back off before it breaks, which is good, but like shields sometimes break faster than we expect. And you weren't
Okay.
getting anything by taking that more aggressive positioning. Okay. Okay. So here you are. So you guys are making a hard push, right? And you're going to be able to brawl pretty powerfully. So what does Halt do? Halt groups people up. Halt groups people
Mhm.
up, and your Genji might dash through this. Your Genji is going to throw shurikens into this. Like, Halt is reasonably powerful right now. But the other thing is Halt is going to take away all of their momentum and slow them for a moment. So if you just throw the Halt at the feet of these guys, it's literally going to be well, there's nothing in here that's going to, like, deflect them or anything. We're going to pull these guys in. We're going to keep them here. And we're all pushing with a Transcendence right now. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Instead, they're getting to kite really more than they deserved here, aren't they?
For your safety, please
Because
move
that is
behind
Halt.
the barrier.
Right, right. Oh boy. Goodbye.
I must rejoin the team.
My ultimate is ready.
Okay. Okay.
I recommend moving behind
I
the
don't
barrier.
care about putting that bear down. I'm just going to shoot the ball that's right here. I don't want to give them time to shoot at my barrier while I'm clearing the ball, because I don't need that window yet. Is this for the...
Okay.
Is this because
Jump
you're
cut.
worried about... Yeah, him shooting at you? Okay.
Stop right there. I recommend moving behind my barrier.
Yeah, okay. Why? We have 76 shots left. Yeah, we wouldn't really want to hit this reload right now. We have 76 shots left. We had full health. We were looking this way a second ago. Maybe we're turning around to deal with the Tracer. Maybe we're not. I don't know necessarily what we're turning around over, but we could have continued shooting this way, or if we knew the Tracer was here, we're turning around to fight the Tracer. We're not reloading right now. You have a pretty long reload animation. You have half your clip left. Okay.
You are advised to move
Animation cancel on the reload. Good.
not so fast.
You're just gonna try to force this with super. That's fine. Reasonable place for it. I'm a little worried about what's to your left. Apparently I shouldn't be. Okay.
I'm not moving.
Okay. I mean, again, like, unless there's something you're waiting for. So here we are. Let's go into this fight. You have Halt. You have Halt at 7:15.
Cease your resistance.
Okay. A Halt is going to pull 3 people into view. The Rhine's going to shield, but a Halt is going to pull 3 people into view. This is fine. This is fine.
You're not getting
Okay.
away.
And here our Halt comes out at 7:26. So that's been 11 seconds, and it pulls the Rhine back into view. And ultimately, we do get the elimination, and that's fine. But, like, I wasn't too worried about pulling them all out here, where we'd have gotten 3 earlier, a good 11 seconds ago, because we have our supercharge going, right? We have a stupid amount of damage. Our team was looking at this. Like, yes, they have the Rhine Shield, but okay, so my team is going to break their Rhine Shield faster. Like, I don't want to fully be like Halt is just completely a tempo cooldown, because it's not. You do have to think about things, but there aren't a lot of things I'm worried about holding it for right now, because we don't have like dragons or nades or things that I'm really interested a ton in syncing this up with. And most of those things, like Storm Arrow, will sort of happen naturally. Like, we could go, okay, we're going to pile drive, and then as the pile drive ends, we're going to halt. Like, we could do some stuff like that, sure. But like,
Hmm.
I am looking for you to use halt more.
Got you. I'll put that on my to-do list.
Good.
You require medical attention.
And
Man, that was a good halt
yeah,
opportunity.
you got it. You got it.
Okay.
And if you just add to it halting left, or halting left now, like that, maybe it gets more fire on it too.
Yeah.
Let them up.
You are advised to move behind my back.
Okay. Okay, your health total and your positioning warrants this.
I'm on fire.
Good. Okay, so mostly we're on the halt train right now. We could get a little bit more onto some positioning stuff. The supercharger usage has been fine. We could get onto some of the aim following the halts. That is a little, but so far, like, the thing that's screaming at us is halt. But we're gonna keep going.
Ready for battle.
It's okay. She hasn't been, she's had a minute being out of meta. Our tanks have forgotten how to play her.
Fair enough.
5, 4, on safety.
Wrong.
Get behind the barrier. 1. Attackers
Okay,
incoming.
so this is sort of okay. You were part of it is you were a little late getting here. Like we can set this up where we go. I throw my barrier, and then I throw another barrier up. You just did the up throw barrier here. You probably know this. I'm probably lecturing you on something you know. That's fine.
Sometimes I need a reminder.
I'm lecturing you because it didn't happen. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Good. Good. We're halting. That's exactly what I wanted. Where I wanted it. I hope it was called.
Barrier activated.
I guess a bit too far forward.
It depends what you're trying to do with it. I mean, there's an argument to be had for, hey, I'm actually interested in cutting off the heals, right? Like, there is an argument for I'm cutting off the heals. This berry actually will be useful to my ball as my ball leaves. It'll provide some cover for them. Like, this could have been an okay berry if this is what you wanted.
Defense mode activated.
That wasn't what I was thinking about. That's why I said it was too far forward. 'Cause
Okay,
I didn't see
got
that
it.
myself.
Got it. Okay, well, that is a legit barrier, but it's a legit barrier for that. If that wasn't the intent, yeah, you mechanically threw it too far forward. I'm probably less thrilled with this fortify. So here we are. You do this. Like, now the Orisa's looking at you, yeah. Yeah, and you do want to pop this before you really lose health. You want to pop it while you have a fair amount of armor. Your supports aren't paying a ton of attention to you. You don't have the harmony. Yeah, I guess this is okay. This might have been a moment early for your fortify, but... Okay. Good. Why is your aim so low?
It's been a while since I played Orisa.
That's fine.
So usually with Orisa, I like to aim for the head, especially when it's against another
Right.
Orisa. But I guess in this instance, that wasn't the case.
Right. You started at the legs on Hog, and I was thinking, oh, are you going to throw a halt? You worked your way up to here, like the body. You haven't really gotten up to the neck area on Hog, which is where we'd be aiming, because Hog and Orisa are both easy headshot targets for you. Oh. You can see that. Then we go here. Yeah, shooting that waist. Oh, maybe the chest. No, we're bringing it back down to the waist. Okay.
I think we brought it down to the waist for the halt.
For the
I
halt,
remember that
yeah,
one.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody come
It's fine. It's just Orisa's an easy character, and especially for tank players, it's easy to sort of forget about aiming and get lazy. If you're playing a lot of Orisa and Ball, you stop getting lazy. If you're playing a lot of Orisa and Ball successfully, you stop getting lazy. But I want to make sure that it's not a case of, hey, I'm getting lazy, because you can do the aim. I'm not worried about that. It's just a remembering type thing. So it's a 10-second cooldown for your barrier. It's a 10-second cooldown for your barrier that you've just activated. This cart isn't going to touch yet. You're not going to have a new barrier, and each barrier, sort of like each halt, is a peek window, a push window, an aggress window for your team. Your team can't use this one, and this barrier is probably going to break before you have another one available. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to do enough with this. So I don't actually like taking this. There was the old Orisa barrier shooting war, etc. when Orisa had a different cooldown, more health on her barriers, etc. That doesn't exist the same way anymore. This barrier is just too early. Your barrier is sort of your aggress window for your team, and that has to be part of your thinking. Okay? And so is your halt, and again, your team wasn't really there, and halt's a short cooldown, so it's like that's more fine now, but your team is definitely within time to be able to use a halt save now. Bear's gonna go down, right? Interesting. Why? Like, you got your barrier back. You have your barrier back. This is fine. Yeah, I'm not okay. I think you just didn't realize you had your barrier back.
I didn't realize it. No.
Okay. I'm just like. Annual animation, cancel that. Yep. Fine. You tried to time that to the fortify wearing off, but your timing was wrong. At least I think that's what was going on. Maybe you wanted the hog? Good.
No, I reloaded there.
Yeah, that you shouldn't have. Frigging nano fortified discorded. How many statuses can you have? Okay. Here we are. To the high ground! No. Okay. So I saw a little more chest aiming going on there against some of the tanks that we want to just bring up a degree or two, but that's okay.
Gotcha.
And it does matter less against it does. Orisa, when she's fortifying, doesn't take the headshot damage stuff now, so you can be, you can aim lower there while that's going on, but against the hog and the Orisa when she's not fortifying, we want to be a little more aware. You're going to take the high ground. You're going to take the high ground. You're going to take the high ground. You're going to take the high.
Eventually, I do. Just not now.
Yeah. So you see this? We're shooting pretty low on the hog, and we haven't thrown out a fortify. Now we've brought our aim up a little.
I didn't throw the fortify because I knew my team wasn't fully behind me yet.
Yep. I don't actually mind the fortify. I mind the aim. Now the aim is fine, but I'm talking earlier, and this is when I'm minding the aim. So here we are. That's hog's foot. Okay. That's hog's belly, foot, whatever. I know he's jumping. But you can lead. Like, he's jumping, so it gets easier for you to drag your mouse to the right and, be dragging down, etc. So, like, there's some tracking here that he's giving you for free that you're not taking advantage of.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you need to be leading your hog a little bit here. And now you change your mind to go after that. And I'm not sure why you change your mind to go after the Orisa here when the hog's still here. Like, yes, you have to play a bit of a barrier break battle, but, like, not when the hog is still here to be shot at. Now we're back on the hog. That's headshots, fine. adjusted dead shots. Yeah, this later phase is fine for the most part. But while he's jumping, remember, we just sort of go, okay, well, I'm going to lead my shots while you're jumping, sort of in a downward curve. And I know you can't see the epic pen that I'm frantically trying to draw with to show you this, but it's like he goes up, and you know as he comes down that he sort of is going to come down drifting to the... Like, if he jumps up and to the left, he's going to come down on your screen down and to the right. So it's pretty easy leading for you to do that. Okay, well, let me go like this and hit my shots on you with your fast-moving projectile. That reload?
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm holding as much as you are.
I know. Okay. There's your halt. Fine.
Again.
Yeah. Yeah.
No resistance.
I probably would have actually taken the moment to try to tuck this a little more on this, where it still goes back and gets all your teammates. But that's minor. Like, you're gonna cover it with your fortify. You have your barrier working sort of in a different direction. I don't hate it. It just, we could have made that a little bit better. Fortified. Don't have halts. Would be really nice for these guys. They go down anyways. Good.
Regen up.
I recommend moving behind my body. Routing navigation systems to defense.
I don't really want to spend my fortify to hold this. Like, I'm looking at this and it's like, is my team using my aggression window? Like, maybe you know how much danger Hog is in, and you're thinking, hey, my Hog is in a lot of danger, so if I don't keep some attention on me, he's not going to get out safely. Maybe that's what you... Oh, no, that's not your Hog.
But
Yeah,
that's not our hug.
yeah. I just wouldn't spend this fortify. I'd be like, you broke my barrier. Cool. I'm going to close line of sight now. And I'll peek again in a second and keep shooting on you. Like, I don't want you advancing here for free, but I'm not willing to spend my fortify to stop you from advancing if the rest of my teammates can't also, or, you know, more of my teammates can't also be shooting at you.
Gotcha. Okay.
Huh.
I wish I had my fortify here.
I wish you had your fortify here. I also wish you'd been able to, you know, shoot at the Hog, shoot at the Widow a little bit, shoot down for easy headshots at the Orisa. You know, it's like, the cart, I don't care about the cart yet. Like, this cart isn't relevant. Whether the cart's here or here isn't going to make a difference to you. Like, you're like, yeah, whatever. It's not until the cart's up here that anything matters. Okay.
Good times.
Yeah, fortify's pretty nice for not getting flashed.
I must rejoin my team.
My ultimate is up. I'm almost ready.
Moving behind my body.
I don't love this.
My ultimate is almost
I
almost ready.
recommend moving behind my barrier.
Is this barrier helping you rotate very much from here to here?
Honestly, now that I look at it, no.
Okay. So, not a big deal, but it's the sort of thing where I'm looking at this and going, now they're kind of busy, so they're probably not going to chunk down your barrier because they have, you know, things going on with your ball, with your, you know, your backline over there. It's interesting to think about. But you generally want to not make a habit of giving them something to, of giving them barrier to shoot at when they can't shoot at you or your teammates. Fortunately, they can shoot at your teammates right now. Well, fortunately, they can shoot at your teammates. Maybe not the proper wording, but hey. Fortify's over. Good, brought the aim up.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
What? Oh, the Widow?
Oh.
I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, Hug's discorded, he's at the health level that you're going to be able to, like, you're going to do a little more damage to him, then you're going to halt him, and then you're going to finish him. What are we...
I don't know why I left off either.
Like, did sight scare you
Oh,
that
what?
much?
I don't remember what happened in this situation.
Okay.
I recommend moving behind my barrier.
hmm
Barrier activated.
Okay.
Cease your resistance.
Fine.
Moving in.
I'm not sure this makes sense yet.
Cease
So
your
here you are.
resistance.
I'm good with it. Why are we fortifying to walk through our barrier? Like, fortifying to walk through your barrier might make sense if you thought you could finish this Orisa. I have no belief that you can finish this Orisa. You still need to break this Orisa's shield. This Orisa has full health. This Orisa has a beam attached to her. This Orisa has an Anna looking at her. Like, if you can finish this Orisa, by all means, walk through, shoot, fortify, etc. But given that you still need to break this barrier, you can just break it from behind your barrier and fortify after your barrier is gone. Or if you realized it, you could turn and shoot down that lane and go, Psh, forget this. I'm done shooting at you. I'm gonna, put this pressure on your team. But yeah.
Uh,
Halt is free. Halt is free. Halt is free. No.
Exceeding expected combat values. Recording performance of
Jesus
future
Christ.
analysis.
It's okay. It's okay.
I saw it.
Okay.
I
Just
saw
making
it.
sure.
Please.
There we go. So this is actually the thing where you're gonna go like this. You do that. You do want to try to get this timing in such a way that you actually put pressure on her to try to make her grapple. Like, it's a tough thing because your halt doesn't travel instantly, but you would try to be like, maybe I put a little bit of pressure on you to make you think about grapple, to make you remember that I'm here. And then, because if you don't grapple, I'm going to take you out with my weapon, and then my halt catches you type thing. So she just has a
Okay.
little too much health, but this is okay.
Please move behind the barrier.
Hopefully we don't spend fortify this time. Okay, now we can potentially think about spending fortify because our widow's here doing something. Or we could halt this mercy and just expect the mercy to get eliminated. Well, that was a nice thought. Okay.
All better.
Yeah, that mercy 100% was eliminated with your Bap, Ash, and Widow all right there.
For your own safety, get behind the barrier.
Okay.
Routing navigation systems to cease your resistance.
No one can hide from my sight.
You can't get out, you got a cart? Yeah.
Defense mode activated. System restart initialized. The checkpoint.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Please move behind the barrier.
It's not amazing barrier timing, but your ball clearly is going in, so fine. It's become correct, even if it's not right. Please shoot at the Widow. Good. Good.
Barrier activated.
I'm not worried. I mean, there's things that went wrong there. The reality is the Hog had taken this angle, and I don't think you realized that. The Doomfist was in, and you knew that. You knew that the Doomfist was in or was going to be in a second, so it was time. Given that, hey, the Hog has taken this angle, the Doomfist has taken this angle, this isn't really your hold anymore, right? That makes their angles too powerful because it's like they have angles now from here, here, and here, and that's too much, and you would rather back up and make it okay, your angles on us are less extreme in that situation, but I'm going to assume that you didn't know that the hog was in here based on what I saw, and the Doomfist you probably thought you had about another second on before this happened, and then in that next second you were going to back up. That's what I'm going to assume.
Okay.
There is no obligation.
This isn't Orisa.
Wait, hold on. I played second here. Oh no, I was switched Winston first.
Okay.
So I don't remember.
That's fine. It's okay. I believe. You got this. You're going to 1v2 them.
No.
Oh, okay.
I guess I buff hog. No, thank you.
No, obviously I was kidding about 1v2ing them as Winston.
Gee, I wish I could.
60 seconds remaining.
Once more unto the breach.
Even when Winston had his full 50 damage bug on every leap, I think that would have been beyond you.
Enemies coming right for us.
30 seconds remaining.
Mm.
10 seconds
They're on the road.
remaining.
Let's put them out of their misery.
Once more unto the breach.
Sterben nicht.
Okay, you're looking for a window, something you can actually get on.
This will protect us.
Oh, you pulled there.
Exactly. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, who? What? The McCree's not looking. He'll be looking in a second, but he's not yet. And
I'm just as
This
surprised as
will
you are.
protect us.
okay. That's some wasted ammo, and you know it. Good. Okay. So I would say the biggest things for you to focus on your Orisa are probably going to be Halt usage, and when it comes to your Halt usage, there's a lot of opportunities to use Halt, especially on its shorter cooldown that you're now missing. It's not as big an investment to use Halt anymore, both because of the lower cooldown and because Halt itself is less powerful, right? It has less meters than perhaps when you remember, so it's more okay to go, hey, I'm using Halt almost as a tempo thing. Like, yes, you're not just going to use it on cooldown no matter what, but smaller, the trigger to use Halt is smaller than you're currently calibrated on. So it's like, oh, I have someone down to 60% HP and I think I can finish, and it's a squishy and I think I can finish them if I Halt them. Great. And, maybe there's only a 40% chance that my Halt is going to miss because it's going to hit because they're going behind cover. But if the Halt hits, I get the elimination. That's probably going to be fine, worth throwing a Halt at. Oh, I'm halting because I have 3 people that are looking at, a Rhine shield with a supercharger. Great, let's Halt to keep that Rhine in sight so that we break his shield, etc. Like, our bar for using this Halt is lower. Oh, the ball is gonna slam, and then we're gonna shoot at him, and then I'm gonna Halt him right back to keep him there. And no, we're not going to eliminate him off of this Halt, but we're going to get him down to a third health, or force him to use adaptive shield and then have half health, or whatever the case may be. That's going to be fine with me. I'm trading out bigger cooldowns. I'm trading out enough of his health that now they can't aggress. And hey, I'm Ball. I'm perfectly happy with the team that can't aggress. I'm trading my cooldown to not let you guys pull off real aggression, pull off real dives. Absolutely fine. So your threshold to use your Halt should be lower, a fair bit lower than it is. The next thing that we'd probably call out that is going to have the most impact, at least on what we saw here, is you're hitting some reloads in combat that don't make sense when you've got 75 ammo left, when you've got 35 ammo left, some things like that, where it's like, hey, the times that you hit reloads in combat are mostly when, there's things to shoot at, are mostly going to be cases of I'm doing a reload cancel, because the reload cancel is a pretty significant amount of time off when you're doing the reload cancel with the shield, which I can see you clearly know how to do. But other than that, you should be much more aware of these in combat reloads, especially these in combat reloads when you have, 130, 75 health, or 75 shots, things like that. If we moved on to a third thing, you do have some fortifies that are a little questionable. And I think we talked about some of those where, hey, we want to be using our fortify sort of like our shield, except a more expensive investment still, where it's like, hey, if I'm doing this, it's so I can keep firing, it's so I can keep contributing poke, it's so I can keep contributing pressure, being a distraction, etc. And if that's the case, if I'm using Fortify to do that, it better be when my team is actually getting value, because me continuing to contribute pressure isn't that big a deal. I do tank damage, and it's respectable, but tank damage is hard to finish people off with. They're, tanks are designed that way, where they have a bit of precision issues, they have a bit of burst issues, etc. Um,
Hmm.
and that same thing with that fortify, where you chased the Orisa out of your shield with your fortify, where it's like, what is this? Are you using this to pressure an elimination? I don't think there's an elimination to pressure here. Things like that. So those would be the three things. I would be much less worried about the fortify than I would about the halts is going to be your biggest place for gain, clearly. And then after that, I'd look towards those reloads. Do you have any questions, anything you'd like to get into, or any like, hey, okay, what about this situation, or I want more on this concept, anything like that?
I was curious about one thing.
Shoot.
Um, this is more like an off-topic thing. I was considering like collegiate teams because I
Sure.
never understood that. How exactly does one get into one? Do you have to be in a college or like what's
You
the?
do generally have to be at these schools to compete in the collegiate teams. Collegiate is probably less official than what you might see in some of the other sports leagues, where it's like you can only compete for 8 semesters or 4 academic calendar years or something like that, where there seems to be a little more of like, oh, look, it's a grad student competing, or oh, look, it's a fifth-year engineering student competing. It seems to be lighter in that, and there's also more of, hey, look, this is a club team competing against a varsity team. There's more of that, but you do have to be at a college to do it. That said, if your college, if you are at a college or at a college that doesn't have a varsity team, A, you can transfer to one that does. But B, the other thing is you can do club teams. The national tournament will allow club teams into it. Some of the regional conferences, and some of those can be a secondary path into. There's actually 3 paths into nationals. So there's the national Swiss bracket, which had over 300 teams this last semester. And if you're a club team or a varsity team, you can sign up for that. Then there's the last chance varsity stuff, which is going to be for the varsity only recognized schools to get in. And that'll get them some of the worst seeds if they couldn't make it in through the national Swiss bracket. And then there's a few conferences. And last year there was 1 or 2, and we expect there to be more. And those conferences are, of course, going to be like, here's 12 teams in a conference. Here's, you know, 18 teams in a conference, things like that, and they're regional conferences, and those are also going to be varsity only. But the biggest event is the national playoffs, the national tournament, and that's a Swiss bracket that club teams can absolutely enter in, and we've seen some club teams do quite well in that. So, obviously it depends on the players at your school, assuming you're at a college. I don't know. You can give me more information as to whether you're at one, looking to go to one, etc., but that's kind of the background on college. And if you want to know what schools are good, you can tell. I can tell you that I know the collegiate scene pretty well, as I am coaching a top 16 school.
Northwestern or Northeastern or something?
Northeastern, yeah.
Okay. Oh no, I was just asking. I'm not going to a college or anything like that. I was just curious.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
you have to be in a college or something like that to actually join it. That's
Yeah, you
curiosity.
you do currently have to be at a college to compete in collegiate. The proving grounds for non-collegiate would of course be contenders, really, or tier 3 to get into contenders. Whereas collegiate, sometimes you'll see collegiate teams in contenders, but right now those are kind of different paths that are looking like over time they're growing closer together.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
I think that's all I have as far as using Halt more as Orisa, and the Orisa is not as good as I thought it was.
Halt's not as good as you thought it was, or Arissa's not as good as you thought it was?
No, my Orisa is not
Oh,
as good as I
your
thought it
Arissa's
was.
not as good. Okay, that's okay. I mean, it's probably rusty. You can polish it back up.
Yeah, no worries. But that's all I have.
Okay, sounds good. Then we'll call it here.